Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast, where we took the Dallas Show and made it a podcast. My name is Dallas, and today we found a hobo off the street to interview, who is actually my brother, Dalton Ray. This was a wonderful delight. My brother and I have never recorded something like this before, so it was fun to kind of shoot the shit and figure out, and it went really off the rails. I think originally our topic was unsolved mysteries and conspiracy theories, and we made it all the way to Hitler. So this is the Dallas Show with Dalton Ray.
In one day, I went from Newark to Cincinnati, nonstop, drove through Cincinnati, and then went from Cincinnati all the way up to Lake Erie.
Are you sure you just didn't make a wrong turn?
All the way through the state.
It's a big state.
In the wrong direction.
All right. Okay, so are you ready for this, Jelly? Do you know what we're doing?
I don't even work
here.
here.
You know where you are? Just so you know, you're also being filmed. So don't look at the camera.
I'm actually a vampire. I don't show up on modern film, so.
I don't know that that's
odd.
All right, we're just going to put a pin in that. Welcome to the Dallas Show, the podcast, where we just turned the Dallas Show into a podcast.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Today I have with me my blood, Dalton. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Now, be honest. Have you watched the Dallas Show on YouTube?
I have.
All of it?
Not all of it. I have seen a few of the episodes,
Did you
but.
see the one where I was a burlesque dancer?
Oh, geez, no.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, so when I first asked you to be on the podcast, I asked you what you wanted to talk about. And the first thing you said, with very little hesitation, the first thing you said was aliens.
Yes.
But then when I asked you a second time, you said unsolved mysteries, not the TV show, just in general.
In general, yeah.
And like aliens and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk about unsolved mysteries, the actual Netflix 2020 TV show.
I don't even think that was on, actually, when you asked me.
I didn't think it was either.
It wasn't on Netflix when you asked me.
Because it was a while ago that I asked you initially.
Yeah.
And then when we came back and you said it again, I was like, oh, good, there's a whole series. But it's the 2020 version, not the old school version.
Yeah.
So before we get into like the Netflix show, who do you think killed John Benet Ramsey?
Oh, I think it was her dad.
Follow-up question. What's it like being wrong?
It was the dad. He did it. It's on the notepad. What sold me on that whole thing was on the notepad. It was in the house where the kidnapper's note came from inside the house. They pulled the notepad, did the flashlight, the old pin trick. No one goes to into a house, kidnaps, and then writes a note inside the house.
You are absolutely correct. Let me tell you where you're wrong. So I'm fairly certain that Patsy Ramsey's the one who wrote the note. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the ransom amount was John Ramsey's bonus.
Yes.
So, just off the cuff.
Yes.
But Burke for sure killed her. Her brother for sure did it. Allegedly.
So you think the brother did it and they covered it up?
I think the brother did it and the parents
covered it up.
I think he beat her with a flashlight. Just like once.
Once?
Yeah.
What 9-year-old kid is like, man, I got this mag flashlight. Let me just whack somebody. Like,
do you remember when I hit you with a hammer when we were children?
That's why I have a soft spot.
That was a pretty big deal.
I have a soft spot as an adult because of you.
I hit you with a hammer.
Now that I think about it,
you didn't die, but maybe that disproves my whole theory. That was a mag light, though.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a mag light with malice. You were pretty close. I just like thunked you real good. I didn't like.
I was an infant.
You were not an infant. You were like 5 or 6.
I wasn't that old.
Which makes me like 9 or 10.
10 years old and you assaulted me with a hammer. You think it's okay?
I sure did. So you agree Burke Ramsey killed?
I don't know. They redid the whole thing. They've reset the crime scene. They did all of it. It's hard to tell.
Have you watched that Amazon documentary 14 times like I have?
3, because you sat at our parents' house and said, watch this, and we watched it twice back to back.
It's so good.
Where they recreate the crime scene and they did the whole thing.
The entire house again.
Yes.
And then from photos, they redress it. This is for Shane and Cody, who like they redo the entire house and then they go through and
it's aggressive.
To, like, physically fit through where they think. Because there's a whole theory about somebody.
The spider web, no, because the spider web was unaffected.
Yeah, that means nobody was down there. It's trash. Trash.
Oh
I won't hear it. But
we've watched it multiple times because he made me sit down and watch it, so I know very specific things about it. Yes.
So say it with me. Burke Ramsey killed his
It was an accident. I mean, I don't know.
Cool.
Is homicide really homicide if it's an accident, though?
Yeah, it's manslaughter.
Not if you're 9.
I know, but then he sued whoever made that documentary. Made like
Oh,
a
jeez.
crap ton of money because they.
But my question is,
like,
my
they
big
said-
question is, why did the creepy guy with the pictures next door confess to it?
Because he wanted attention.
If I wanted
That was in
attention,
that, like, follow-up documentary, right? Where they were like, we have 3 new suspects. And 2
Well-
hours later, they go, we've solved nothing.
well, there was the one dude next door. He had like a creepy obsession with her, but like, that's fine and everything. But also, he's like, yeah, I killed her. Why would you admit to a murder for attention? Like,
Because when you're on meth, anything's possible.
he was like 400 pounds. He was not on meth.
Well, did you see the
was a
new
big dude.
development where it was like they found pictures of Ghislaine? Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is?
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein's.
Don't even get me started.
They found pictures of.
Nah.
Well, that's the next
Nope.
thing. About her. They have a picture of her with John Benet Ramsey. Have you seen this?
No. That's not real.
So they think
No.
They can't confirm
Nope.
if it's her or not. But if it is
It
her,
can't
could you
be her.
imagine if John and Patsy Ramsey were involved with?
Have you seen the Epstein documentary?
Yes. What is it called? Dirty Money or something?
I don't know.
That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right. That's a different adult film. That's not the same.
Oh, yes, that's about a boy named Money.
Yeah.
Filthy Rich.
Is that what it's called?
Yep, I have it right here.
I didn't know.
So this is another one where it's like, say it with me. He didn't kill himself. Somebody had him taken out, and she's next.
Don't even get me started. You're telling me that in a maximum security prison, they shut the cameras off and they had 2 security guards fall asleep for hours, and he happened to hang himself with stuff he wasn't supposed to have in his cell? Come
I
on.
can't. Wait, do you think he killed himself?
No.
Okay, I couldn't tell for a second. I was like, which way are we going here?
No,
Because-
he knew he had so much information on so many people. He was whacked inside a maximum security prison cell.
It's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And
yeah.
she's next because they just got her.
Oh, I hope
I
so.
think she's in custody.
I kind of want it to happen,
That's
but I
August.
kind of want the information. So like, just do the old fashioned like waterboard her till she talks, and then out into the water. You know,
You know that old chestnut.
you don't have to put it on TV. Like,
What did you? Bill Clinton was on that island, Porn Island.
yes.
Who's surprised that Bill Clinton was
Who's-
on Porn Island?
What do you mean? Bill Clinton came on TV and did the whole line. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, but yet he lied to the entire nation for years about Monica Lewinsky. You're telling me that he wouldn't lie about?
He can lie all he wants. He was there.
There are multiple people that flew on his plane.
I know.
That
Isn't crazy?
whole thing is just.
Hitler was there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's where he met Mussolini. Walt Disney. Did you see all that?
that one I believe. That
Yeah.
one's up in the air.
It's pretty good. We're
Yeah,
gonna lose Hitler as a sponsor for the podcast. So
he
let's go.
sponsors the. Okay, 2 white guys talking into microphones with Hitler sponsoring. That's great. That's gonna end well.
Welcome to 2020. Okay. Okay. So,
One of us is already bald. If I shave my head, we're a whole chapter right here in your house. Like, it's not how it works.
oh God, the show has my name on it. Stop doing that.
Doesn't have my name.
Yeah, we lost Tara Reid in episode 1. She doesn't listen anymore. Ugh.
Yeah.
So let's get into the Netflix Unsolved Mysteries. So you grew up with me.
Sadly.
Do you like true crime?
Uh,
Are you, like into true crime a lot?
Yes. Yes and no. My thing is like I like true crime, but then I lean more into the. I don't know. As I've gotten older, I love watching. I call them crazy people, like conspiracy theorists and things. Just the way people use what they believe and go so wholeheartedly into it is what I.
So wait, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill JFK?
That's a different podcast.
Okay.
Whole different thing. I got that one all.
So no, my thing with true crime was I got super into like growing up watching Forensic Files.
That's a big one. Yeah.
And
Yep.
just being forced to watch it at Mimi's
Oh,
house
with
for,
Mimi.
like,
Oh.
for days.
hours and hours
And
of it.
like
yeah.
having nightmares and having mom and dad have to be like, hey, you can't watch Forensic Files. The kids are having nightmares. And she went, oh, okay. And then it was like...
You were 18 and I was 15. We were having nightmares.
No. But then she would turn on like the Casey Anthony trial as it was happening.
Yeah, that was a good
which
one.
was much calmer.
Yeah. Investigation Discovery, man. Tonight on ID.
Yeah, every hotel room, Forensic Files, 24/7.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I got my... And every collection's on Netflix.
I mean, that's fair. I do like true crime. I like... What gets me is the old style true crime, like the old Forensic Files, and they don't... There would be blood everywhere. And they'd be like, oh, well, power wash that. That's gross. All right, let's go back to trying to figure out who killed this guy. Before 1984? 85?
Yeah, when they didn't have to wear gloves.
Well, DNA. They didn't have any kind of like testing for DNA. Was it the 80s? It was the 80s. Before they could actually test DNA. So it's like, oh, we've got this on file. And then you see the crime shows now that come up and it's like, we had this DNA from a murder that happened in the 70s. Turns out it was your grandfather. They just go to some random house and it's like, your grandfather committed rape. It's like, oh,
like,
who knew?
cool, Grandpa.
Like.
But the other thing with, I lost my train of thought. 80s. Give me a moment. Oh.
DNA.
So with not having that DNA like record, being able to test that, it's funny where now like we watch even some of the stuff on Forensic Files is outdated.
Oh yeah.
Where I think they've said recently
it's
that,
wrong.
Like, carpet fiber analysis and like most hair analysis.
You mean it's all
is
garbage?
Just trash science. Blood spatter.
What got me was there was an episode that a dude he had a snaggletooth. His front tooth was crooked.
I've seen this.
They got a bite mark. The teeth analyst guy was like, I'm 100% sure, blah, blah, blah. Dude was on death row for like 8 years. Finally got pardoned. Turns out it wasn't him. They proved it with later DNA and like more technology. They could prove things. And they were going to kill this dude because he had a crooked front tooth.
I mean, my teeth have looked worse, and that's no reason to kill me.
But the woman had a bite mark, and they matched his teeth to it. It wasn't even him. He was the mailman. Like, like how do you? I don't know.
Yeah, because it was like a more intimate crime.
Yeah.
That they were like, it's more likely somebody you know.
It was the neighbor that was drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you get drunk and bite your neighbors.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because I never watched Unsolved Mysteries because, in case you didn't know, this was a show that was on in the 80s and 90s.
Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
So this is an old show that they like rebooted.
Oh, really?
So I highly recommend going back.
I didn't know that.
Because it's one of those things where I never watched it because Unsolved Mysteries aren't satisfying to me.
Because at the end, I'm not gonna lie, at the end though, I was waiting for him to be like, hey, it was this guy. Every episode I watched, it was like I was waiting for it and then it just ended.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
What's going on? But so no, this was a show that was on. I'm trying to get the year. It was on from 1987 to 2010.
Really?
And it was just they would do these unsolved mysteries, and then they'd put out a thing at the end that was like, if you the thing that they put out,
if you know anything, call this number.
Yeah.
Called it every time.
But I actually looked up. There were a few that like did get solved.
Really?
And there's only like 10 out of all these ones that are solved. Which
with nowadays though, with fingerprints, I mean, look at like the old movies and stuff where like you would go, like people would get arrested and go to the county jail, not to prison, but like they would go to a jail and they would take the ink fingerprints and they'd put it in a filing cabinet and then like that's where it stayed. If you could like steal that card and run away, you were off the record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's mine. That's, I don't know.
Well, and I was never satisfied with them, so I never watched them. But I watched this one because with 2020, it's more fascinating. Like when we watch it in the 80s, like the 80s episodes, it's like, well,
where you watched it? You watched it in the 80s?
Shut up. Where you watch it when it takes place in the 80s, and it's like, we don't know what to do with this information.
Yeah.
But now they do.
They do,
So now when they have 2020, like the year 2020.
Yeah, but they can go so
mysteries,
far. I mean, there's so much more they can do.
Yeah, but it's still crazy that like things can still be unsolved because you could just be good at crime.
You could, or you could just be really good at making other people really bad at solving crime.
That too.
So that's a big part of it.
And there's some cases where they're like, we could tell a gentleman was standing here in sweat.
Yeah. Yes.
30 years ago. Really? But you can't find a guy who... Whatever. Fine. So let's get into the Unsolved Mysteries. We'll start with the first one that we both watched, which was... it's called 13 Minutes. It's The Lady in the Salon.
The Salon. Yeah, okay.
Who allegedly did it? I don't know that we can legally say these opinions. Are we allowed? Are you a lawyer? Either of you? Allegedly. This is all allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So what is the official? Yeah, who?
What's the official? It's an unsolved mystery.
I know,
dingus.
but who's the number? Officially, who's the number one suspect? Who was it?
Her husband.
It was her husband.
Yeah, because he at the day she went missing, changed all the locks.
Oh yeah,
and,
he was.
locked the son out.
Yeah, but
didn't
he
wanna
was.
see him.
I just feel like he was a douchebag. But I feel like, but he proved it though. He paid a toll. They said that he had a receipt paying a toll going to work. At the time of that 13 minutes, he paid a toll far enough away that he couldn't have done
If it ain't on film, it don't mean nothing.
That's true. I can print a gas.
Somebody else can have that receipt.
I can print a gas station receipt and make it look pretty good. Yeah. So,
but
it's
I
fine.
mean, and I forget what year this happened in, but the most terrifying part of this is it leans pretty heavily toward him.
Yeah.
Because everyone else that they interview in the Floating Heads is like, he was kind of scary. He was a little abusive.
He wasn't
having a good time.
But he was much older. He met her when she was in her 30s. He was 150. How old was he?
She was in her 30s, I think. I think he was 50. It's not crazy.
It's
pump the brakes. It's not crazy.
It was pushing it. He's a little bit older. He's creepy.
He's old enough that there's a generational gap, and he probably couldn't. You know what? It's fine.
Fight back. You're telling me? Okay, he was not old enough not to fight her. Is that what you're saying?
No.
There was a generational gap. What are you saying?
I don't want to get into it. So, but when is the time? But no. So remember? Yeah. So she gets cremated, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
But before she gets cremated, he has the guy at the funeral home.
He's so creepy.
This sounds super insensitive. We're not being insensitive.
Oh, he's creepy.
We're explaining what happened, and I think it's funny. May she rest in peace. He has the funeral director guy piece her skeleton back together.
Yep. On the table so he can see.
So he can see it.
Yeah.
And then he talks about he's interviewed in this.
Yep.
And he talks about how he picked up the head and carried it for a while.
It was the last time he's seen her all together or something. It was creepy. The way he put off serial killer vibes though.
Almost as if
he did it. Yeah.
He chopped up his wife.
Yeah. That's fair. He put off that vibe though.
He kisses the head. Yeah. Puts it back, has her cremated.
Yep.
Which they said something about I didn't think you could cremate a body if it was still under investigation. But whatever. It seemed like a town where it was the dentist, the butcher, the apothecary, the funeral parlor owner. It's all the same guy. But then
it's all the same guy.
He keeps the ashes in a box.
The worst.
They're in a bag, in a box, and he sleeps with them every night.
The way he said it though, no, it's fine if you want to keep them in your room to be with you. It's more of an intimate thing. What he said was,
well, I don't tell very many people this, but I sleep with her every night.
But I sleep with her every night. And it's you could have worded that better. So it was, I have her remains with me at all times. Or
That's worse. That's worse. Why are they in his pocket?
She's on the nightstand. She's on the mantle. She's in the basement by the fireplace, wherever she might be. The point is, he didn't have to say it like he did. He's I sleep with her every night still. And then on screen, he opens it for the first time. He's I've never seen this.
He opens a box and pulls out a sack of ashes on this show.
For the first time, yeah.
God, these people deserve every award because it was
good.
It was fascinating.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, and then he won't let the son have any of them.
Yeah, my thing is though, why hasn't he just killed the stepdad yet? He can just whack him.
Because that's murder.
Not if you're 9 though. The point is he could. The point is.
Interesting.
Why wouldn't he? You're telling me the son has no rights to the mom's remains? How?
Where are you getting this from? I didn't say that.
I'm saying.
I said he shouldn't kill the stepdad. That's a different argument.
That's debatable. Why doesn't the son? Okay, my question is, why doesn't the son have access to the mom's remains? Because the stepdad won't let him.
Yeah, correct. So
why does the stepdad?
I'm sure he could fight for them, but the stepdad's a crazy person. So,
I mean, maybe, but
I don't know why I covered that side.
Correct. You aren't wrong. He is nuts, but the son should have rights to the remains of the mother, I think. Yeah.
It's
correct.
So sad. Okay, so we'll move on to another one. This one is the House of Terror. This was the one that was not in English. Did you watch this one?
The one not in English?
It was French. The guy that kills his whole family and shoves them under the house.
I was a little bit drinking when watching these, so if I missed an entire episode
So you
not in
understood
English,
fluently.
yeah, I don't remember one not in English.
It was a guy. They were like a French aristocracy, and they all just go missing one day, and then the cops find his whole family wrapped in bags under the house, and he's just gone. No, you don't
Completely
remember
over
this?
that. No,
Okay, well,
that was not
this is
real.
a shorter episode than I thought. Let's get into the one that's called No Ride Home. This is the one where this poor kid, was it Missouri?
Somewhere out there.
Missouri was the daughters. That's a different one.
Oh,
This
that's a
one
good one
was
though. Yeah.
Somewhere,
I don't remember where it's at.
But these kids go to a party like an hour away. They are at this party. His name is, they call him Zoe, right? Lonzo. They call him Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo.
He's the only black kid in this group. They go to a party, and then by like weird happenstance, like everybody that he goes there with like leaves, and one guy gets lost and doesn't come back. So everyone thinks he's going with someone else.
So he's the kid in the supermarket with parents, just like,
yes.
Oh, you take the kid, you take the kid.
Exactly.
And now he's left at a gas station.
So he's left there, but then he just like disappears, and they never find him. This one was super sad.
When did this one take place? Did it say what time period? Do you remember?
I should have kept my notes better.
I don't remember
say it was
when.
the 90s or early 2000s.
It was that late? Like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah, problematic.
Oh.
Yeah, early 2000s, people can still just disappear. But long story short, so they have to wait to file a missing persons report. They go in, they can't find him anywhere. They search this because it was an abandoned house or whatever. They can't find him until finally they're like the FBI gets involved, like a bunch of people get involved, and then afterwards they tell the family can go look for him, and it takes the family
It's
2 days.
I didn't say it's not very long.
And they find him.
But I don't see why the family wouldn't have participated. You know, like.
Well, I don't think they're allowed. It's not like
I mean,
Stephen Avery making a murderer.
I mean, you're allowed to put input. Like, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
they talked about there was a shed that they hadn't searched and nobody had searched, and we're going to go search that shed. And on the way to search that shed, they found his body. And then from there, they're just like, I don't know, must have fell.
Yeah, their explanations were very not good.
Yeah, because they found like his boots.
Yeah.
And they found.
Didn't they say like they thought he was just wandering and then just like he just passed out and died?
They were like, yeah, he was the
Like,
only black kid at a party, and he just decided he would go on a walk in the middle of nowhere
by himself, and he lost his boot, like his boots were farther away,
hundreds of feet apart,
and he just fell and passed out and died. And it's like,
oh, he was drunk and he fell in the creek and he drowned.
Oh, is that what it was? They basically just made a bunch of random things up, and it's like, oh, that's fine. Like, that's not how it works, but.
Shut up, Shane. Yeah, that one was a lot. The 13 minutes one, there was like, they very clearly pointed to somebody, and it kind of turned into like why did he do it? Whereas this one was like the first one that I watched that it was.
But there was almost nobody. They didn't have any real.
No, they didn't have anybody, and nobody could track down like where these people were, who the people at the party were, because they met somebody from out of town.
Nobody's gonna admit to being at that party if they, you know what I mean. No one's gonna try to incriminate themselves if they don't have to. So it just turned into more of a we have a person and we have no answers.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was just really. I mean, it's a really well done episode. It's a very sad story, but
what state do we figure out? Was it Alabama? It was down south, wasn't it?
I don't remember. One moment, I can actually look it up.
It's still mind blowing to me that in the early 2000s, it's like, oh, we're at a party, we're just gonna kill this person, as a hate crime. Like, I don't know. That's still mind blowing to me.
It was in Kansas.
I was not correct.
Kansas is where
that
one took place.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So there was one more. Why don't you tell me? So I also. There was one that I didn't watch because I kind of forgot and didn't realize until I literally sat down here. Because I was like, why? It's weird because they also used to do a lot of UFOs and alien type things on Unsolved Mysteries. And I was like, oh, it's weird they released a collection and didn't do a UFO one.
They
and
did.
I just looked it up and I was like, oh, they did. And I didn't watch it. Somebody watched it because it's played on my Netflix, but wasn't me. It's unsolved. Mysteries.
That one was basically Berkshire's Massachusetts, I believe. It was a bunch of different people saw a UFO. They reported the same sighting from different parts of the town, and select individual people were all basically exiled for being called crazy for seeing it. There was like different parts of the town, so it was people all over in different corners reported generally the same thing, and then 2 people reported being abducted. And they make it seem more like a joke because the 2 people that were abducted allegedly, they kind of just go off the rails with what they think happened, and they're both like both of their stories are way out there, just kind of like the standard science fiction, what you'd see on TV kind of thing. So the abduction part is a little bit weird, but basically it's 4 families that all see the same thing and they report the same thing around the same time, and they're all like outcasted from their town. So basically their 2 young kids at school are bullied and forced to move. The one kid actually gets mercilessly beaten down at school and is forced to move. The 2 adults that seen it basically went nuts because nobody believed them, and they ended up just sitting at home thinking about it so much they went crazy. And the one dude that got abducted, nobody believed him for so long that he finally came out and told a story on this, and now he's like embraced it. But it's basically a story of families and everybody's lives that are in the end in this town ruined because nobody believed them.
See, which is an interesting way to frame an alien story, because it doesn't really go back to like the UFO is unsolved. It's more of this narrative that they take where it's, and we'll talk about it in the next one too, where it's more of a story of these people's hardship, which is great. It's not a bad thing. This one's not an unsolved mystery. This one is more the outcome of what these people experienced. Yeah. Well, and I was looking it up here too. So it's Massachusetts, and it was in the late 60s, early 70s, right?
Right around that time period, yeah.
69 exactly.
Yeah.
But
that was the summer of 69. There you go. Yeah.
The inspiration for Brian Adams.
No.
Yeah?
Is it Brian Adams?
Okay. What a stupid. So I was looking here, and it says on the extra notes that it was Jane Green, who was one of the main people.
Yeah.
When she was contacted by the show, she learned from her sons that they also had sightings around the same time, and they'd never mentioned it to each other. So
basically, they all try to keep it quiet because you think you're crazy. Like if you see something like that in the 60s, you weren't getting on the internet to post it because it's the 60s. So like they couldn't corroborate their stories with each other. They couldn't like that kind of thing. So now you can't go to the message boards and you can just like be like, oh, I saw a UFO, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. But
well, and I feel like there's a lot of, especially in that time period when aliens or sightings of UFOs started like increasing, it was a lot easier just to be like, they're on drugs.
That too. I mean,
and you know what? They might have been. More on them.
They might have been.
It's one of those things where it's like, no, Jeffrey, you didn't get abducted. You just decided to mix meth and moonshine on a Wednesday when it's clearly a Monday activity.
Yeah, but my big question about that is, you know how like when you would see a UFO back then, everybody would be like, let me grab the worst camera I can find and try to film it. Then you've got all the blurry like super zoom.
I would say it was the worst cameras. I think it was just the cameras for the time.
Well, fair. But why has no one caught a recording of UFOs nowadays with super phones, like technology phones?
We have more important things to worry about, like human rights and voting in the next election.
I mean,
the aliens are staying the fuck away because they've seen what we can do on this planet.
That's fair.
The unsolved mystery. Oh, it's not unsolved. They don't want to be here.
They just stopped coming. Do you think we're that bad of a people? We chased them off.
Have you met us?
Yeah. Well, it depends on where they land. Like, are we talking the Deep South in the 60s? Are we talking, like, I don't know, New York today?
Umbrella Academy bullshit are you talking about where they're landing in different times?
I mean, if I was an alien, I wouldn't go to, like, the Deep South in the 60s. I would wait until, like, now. And then, like,
probably don't have a choice. The Deep South's not that great now. I'll say it.
I wouldn't go to Alabama now.
Brave yet controversial opinion. The South, Not great.
Are we talking like Montgomery, Alabama, or like the deep South Alabama? Like, there's a difference. Like
Miami.
oh, yeah,
It's about as south as you can get.
yeah,
Literally.
that's fair. Literally, it's close. That's fair.
So let's talk about this.
Sorry, that was my favorite episode. Is that one
The
specifically?
UFO, the one that I didn't watch.
Yes.
I prepared so well for this interview.
Yes.
It's a good thing I know you. So this last one was my favorite one, and this was the missing witnesses one with the family.
Oh boy.
So
How much meth was done through the family?
so much meth family. Allegedly, they were wonderful people.
Not
except for the
allegedly.
mom.
Not allegedly.
So, again, I'm telling the story. I'm telling the story to you, but we're talking about it. So
This one was good though.
So there's a family.
Yeah.
She has like 6 daughters, right? Isn't married, but everyone's like, she has a lot of boyfriends. She dates a lot, and so she has a hankering for dating guys with brothers.
I'll say the word hankering. That's
They
weird.
were in the deep south. It was Missouri.
Oh, yeah. The deep South.
Hey, sometimes in the south of Missouri, it is South Missouri, and in other times, it is Missouri.
Oh my God. You grew up in Ohio, and that's your accent
Sure
of the
did.
deep South. Okay.
The east-west south.
Yeah.
So she had these 6 daughters. She dated a lot, so she would like. I don't know if she married the first guy.
Yes.
She did, because
Yes.
he got like super close to the daughters.
Yes, he became the stepdad that they never had. He took care of them. He made sure they were fed. He was a pretty good stepdad. He decently.
And then lo and behold, she up and leaves him for his brother,
Gary.
Gary.
Eat a dick, Gary.
Eat a dick, Gary.
It's his real name.
That's his baptism.
That's his baptismal name. Yeah. Eat a dick, Gary. I was really rooting for what was his name though? The not Gary, the other one. The stepdad.
Chuck. I don't know.
I don't remember. But he was a decent. All of the daughters.
He was real cool.
All the daughters even said that he was a decent father figure. He like put effort in. He like took them out and did things. He made sure they were fed. The mom wasn't doing that, but
Yeah.
And then Gary.
Sketchy mom. So so then it was Gary, and then she was cheating on Gary with another guy, Chris. It was like Chris with a K or something stupid.
It was something like that.
So she
Super white trash.
crazy.
So,
But
but no,
anyway-
but this was years apart though. So she was with the first guy. He became the stepdad, married him, and then cheated on him with Gary.
Uh-huh.
And this was years. I mean, it was a years of process.
Yeah, this was not.
She was with the first guy for 3 years, I think, and then left him and got with Gary for 3 or 4 years. These girls were like mid-teenagers
We
by
are
now.
throwing out so many numbers we are not sure are right.
I'm pretty sure they're all right. I watched this and I was only semi-intoxicated.
Okay.
Basically, it was like years upon partners the way she cheated on them. So the girls were older by the time that Gary came around, and he was not a good stepfather.
No, he wasn't as fun. He like made them work on a farm. But what a jerk. But he
Was it Chris? Was it Chris? It might have been Chris.
I think it was like Chris with a K. I don't trust it. But so anyway, she starts seeing this new guy, and then all of a sudden Gary goes missing, and it's like, okay, obviously we know what happened. But they like all the girls came home one day, and the mom was like scrubbing the floor with bleach. Red flag. But it wasn't the oldest daughter that knew more stuff. It was like the second oldest.
Yeah.
And it was. I think it was her
They walked in and the mom said go do your chores, and she made them not come in the house. But the youngest daughter said she couldn't milk the cows, or the middle daughter, whoever it was, said she couldn't milk the cows without the pail. So she just said whatever and went and got the pail. And when she was inside, she saw. Then she saw the bag that had the body in it, and the mom was scrubbing the floor.
See, this is where I might have also been intoxicated while I watched this, but because I thought she saw the mom scrubbing, but then later that night, the other daughter, one of the 6, saw them carry a body into the car.
I was going to say there was eyewitness between all of them. The eyewitness testimony basically stated that they saw a body, they saw blood, they saw cleanup happen.
Long story short,
Yeah.
Luann and Chris with a K killed Gary. I assume her name's Luann. But so the whole thing comes from the unsolved mystery is who killed Gary.
Yeah.
But also the second oldest daughter tells the first stepdad like what happened, like confesses.
I want to say he's Dale. He's a
Yeah,
Dale.
There's a lot of names. But she tells him like the mom made her go with them to like scatter Gary's ashes out the truck. so that they could like never find him. But then her name was, she's important. I'm gonna find her real fast. She deserves her name.
Yeah, but the mom she did things that incriminated her. Like, she left the daughter alive. She threatened to kill the daughter. She threatened to kill them all at one point, but
she was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh.
Did social services not exist then?
I just Googled Unsolved Mysteries daughter. Do you think that pulled up
Good.
exactly what I was looking for?
It did.
13,000 other episodes.
Unsolved murders are real. They're not just TV, Dallas. They could be other daughters that are unsolved.
Her name was Sandy, the mom.
Yeah.
What was the daughter's name?
Either way, she was a terrible person, and she killed Gary. Is what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
she for sure killed Gary. Why is this the Little Mermaid? What's happening?
What? Are you having technical difficulties over there?
Yeah, I can't. I should have brought the notebook that I was writing this down in. I was like, I'll remember it. I love this show.
Is this before or after you? Well, yeah. You didn't even watch them all. You didn't watch the best one.
Well, I must have missed something.
Oh.
Lena.
Ah.
The daughter's name is Lena.
She had a barbed wire tattoo that was kind of dope. I mean.
Not the one that went missing.
No. Wait.
There are too many daughters. Lena's the one that went missing.
Yeah.
People are going to love this episode of this podcast.
No idea what's happening.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Lena goes missing.
Correct.
Because they're pretty sure the mom did something to her. They can't find her. But she was like the witness. She was going to testify against her.
Yeah.
And they just can never find her. And the mom got custody of her son.
So she had a son, and they said that she just abandoned the son and went and hooked up with a new guy from Florida. But
the mom just stole
the
baby
son
because it was a boy. She was obsessed with having a boy.
Yeah.
And the oldest daughter's like, even to this day, he tells her grandson
to call her mom. Red flag number, all of them.
Yeah. So it's another one of those ones where it's a super tragic story, but it also just sucks because it's
but think about that kid.
She clearly did it. But they also moved to like 3 different farms with tons of land, so they were like, she could be anywhere.
Yeah, but think of that kid, though. You're telling me that kid's going to be like 14, 15, 16 and be like, this is my mom who's 90.
Grandmom.
But is he going to know that, though? Like,
says the guy who, we have an uncle our age, you dingus.
You do realize I married into a family that, I have an uncle now that's 14.
Yeah. Why are we giving them crap about?
Because it'll be the kid, the mom will be like really old. And like it won't be.
Did you ever see that Medea movie? Same thing happened.
I'm a white guy from no, I didn't.
Are you kidding me? No, because she finds out who is it? Is it Lil Bow Wow? Lil Romeo?
Lil Rom.
I think it's Lil Bow Wow.
Again, 2 white guys sponsored by Hitler talking about Lil Bow Wow. It's not going too well, buddy.
I just gotta Google Lil Bow Wow real fast. He's gonna be so happy.
I think he's big now. He's just Bow Wow, right? Like,
you might be right.
he's just
Bow Wow.
He's just Bow Wow.
Actually, his name is Shad. So, is it pronounced Chad?
What is it?
What happened here?
What is it? Shad?
Anyway, Lil Bow Wow, when he was just becoming Bow Wow, finds out that Loretta Devine isn't his mom, but his oldest sister was. But it's really sad because bad things happened in the family. Well, that got sad. Sorry. Bow Wow's just Bow Wow now. He was also on The Masked Singer. He was a frog.
I kind of want a visual timeline just of what's happening and how far we've gone with.
Welcome to my life. This has been the most off the rails.
I just work here, man.
You don't. I feel like there was another. So that kind of wraps up the unsolved mysteries with like the Netflix one. So I guess kind of going off of diverting from unsolved mysteries, is there a true crime case or a specific supernatural case that like sticks? Like, do you have
a John Benet Ramsey? I have a John Benet?
Do you have a John Benet Ramsey like I do?
For me, I think it'd be JFK.
Oh Christ!
That's a whole different podcast, but I think it is for me because
JFK,
the assassination.
It's so cut and dry. I don't understand what.
I will throat punch you.
No, just ask me what you don't know, and I'll tell you.
Oh my God. Okay, so how could Lee Harvey Oswald, a defected Marine, take 3 shots with the rifle he took he can't shoot that fast. So it's a proven fact that not even the best marksmen can shoot that fast with the weapon that he had. He failed out of sniper school twice in the United States Marine Corps because he wasn't a good shot. You're telling me he could shoot a moving motorcade and take out a president 2 out of 3 shots? No.
Hey, JFK slept with Marilyn Monroe. It's all God's plan, baby. You just got buckled
So did
up.
Bobby. So did Bobby Kennedy. Everybody at that time slept
And
with
what
him.
happened to Bobby Kennedy?
The point is,
I rest my case.
he didn't do it by himself because okay, so say he did it. It's just him, lone gunman. No. So a garbage
Nastiest of nulls.
a garbage Marine who took Russian language classes in the United States Marine Corps, defected to Russia. They said, "You are worthless, go away." He comes back. You can't come back once you've denounced your citizenship that easy.
1, I hope they said it just like that.
And 2, he also got a loan from the United States government to come back. So people that are stranded in other countries can get a loan from the United States government to come home. It is a program that is eligible for Americans. He denounced his citizenship and then got that loan. Why would the government give it to him if he was a defector giving secrets to communist Russia?
They needed a patsy.
Bingo. He comes home.
A Patsy Ramsey.
Oh, my
It
God.
all comes together. It all comes back.
He comes home,
freaking together.
assassinates the president, and then my big thing on it is why did Jack Ruby, a random nightclub owner, gun down him before he goes to jail?
Jack Ruby killed Levi
Yeah.
Oswald.
So Jack
So
Ruby.
Is he an assassinator?
He is an ass something. Jack Ruby takes.
Hold on, that was my best joke.
That's fair. I'll give
That
you.
was a great joke.
I'll give you that. That's golf clap for that one. Yeah, that's fair.
Go on.
He basically Ruby finds a way to know when they're moving Oswald from the jail because they even said they were going to move him out front and backdoored him, and they hid him from the public. They even backdoored him to keep him safe. Ruby finds a way to get through 2 police barricades and the press with a handgun to shoot him in the stomach, to shoot Oswald in the stomach, killing him before he can be questioned on who paid him, who set him up, why he was taking the fall, why he was in the school book depository after hours, even though he worked there, shouldn't have been there. God. Jack Ruby was paid by the government, most likely the CIA, to kill Oswald, to keep him quiet. And then, when he was given the death sentence, he was pardoned later. So Jack Ruby didn't even die by the government because he kept his promise and didn't spill the beans.
And where is he now? Welcome our next guest, Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby, welcome.
I would just stroke out, right?
I
Like,
thought you were going to do Jack Ruby a voice. I was like, what a bit. Friend of the podcast, Jack Ruby.
no, instantly nosebleed. I would probably just stroke out. Like, that's a real thing. But
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
no, I blame society. But
Have you watched The Umbrella Academy? Did we talk about this?
I have not.
Did you guys watch The Umbrella Academy yet? Halfway through, like, you saw the first season? Or halfway through the second season. They do a real... Sorry, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it, yeah.
They do a real cool thing with, like, important moments in history, which the JFK thing, I was like, that is so cool. Where it's like people are paid to jump through time and stop things from happening. What do you say about that?
If
number 5 just shot your president in the face?
But if I could go back and do it and stop it from happening.
The assassination?
Yes. Like, stop the assassination from happening?
Oh, that wasn't my question.
What was your question?
Never mind. Keep going.
Your question didn't make sense.
No, mine made perfect sense.
You said they go back in time to stop certain things from happening?
Yeah.
Like the assassination?
Yeah. The
What?
Hindenburg. Hitler. They don't do that one.
Like, tell Hitler's dad to pull out or, like, keep him from becoming powerful?
Yeah, how far back? In what stage would you end Hitler? When he's like a youth?
No, about
like,
36
when
seconds
he's-
before his father ejaculated. I would just run into
Were
the
you
room.
about to say bust a nut
I was going to
on
say.
my podcast?
You can say busted out. I can't. But about 37 seconds right before Hitler's dad busted a nut, I would run into the room and just tackle him and then run
Choke
out.
him even harder.
No, but if you run out, if you tackle him and then just sprint out, then he's just like, oh, and then like, oh, no Hitler. Like,
But what if?
I mean, I would hang around to make sure he didn't try again, but like,
I can't talk to you about that. But if it would, It's that perfect. But yeah, do you stop the dad? Do you stop the parents from meeting? How far back do you go? Do you kill Hitler's grandma? Wouldn't that fuck it up?
His grandma?
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you just go back and convince Hitler to be a painter instead of a douche?
Have you met artist? I'd rather him stay Hitler.
I mean, he doesn't have to be the new age hipster one, but yeah. Coming from the white Jewish guy, that's fair.
Who's Jewish? Oh, I'm 5% Jewish, which means you have to be.
I was adopted, you asshole.
You are not adopted. You will not.
You know that.
You will not put that slander on this podcast. You are not adopted. How dare you? In this troubling time. Oh, 2020, and you find out you're adopted in August? Awful.
Dallas, we were both adopted. Our parents are black.
Have you met our parents? I look just like them.
Gross.
Yeah, you're telling me. You're telling me. Okay, so we've talked about it all.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
From JBR to JFK. So, do you have anything else to add to this podcast?
No, I'd say that about sums it up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's.
And we'll talk about the final solution more on the next episode. Before we leave, I do want to talk about. We're going to play a game called Does Dallas Like? And what we're going to do for Does Dallas Like is I'm going to read you 10 things, and you're going to rapid fire tell me, does Dallas like these things?
Am I going to file a sexual harassment claim with HR when I leave here? Are you the HR guy, Shane? Are you? Okay, so you're getting my complaints. You're going to get these.
Interesting. Now, you'll have to forgive me because I forget where I left off. It's in groups of 10. This is the 4th podcast. Thank you. Oh. We're professional here on this podcast.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Did I have
So
to
basically,
do it on scrap metal?
you're going to read me things, and I have to say yes or no, rapid fire, on whether you enjoy them or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Does Dallas like trips,
Yes.
taste,
Yes.
cutting,
Yes.
barrels,
No.
virtues,
No.
Duke, the school,
No.
yards,
Yes.
records,
Yes.
infinite,
What? Infinites? Infants? Infants is a no. Infinity is a yes.
screams?
Yes.
All right, that's all we have for the Dallas Show on this episode. Dalton, where can people find you on social media?
At Dalton Ray on Instagram.
Oh, because you're kind of a photographer too.
Yes. So on Instagram, I have an account called Photos by Ray 2018, and that is where a lot of my photos go. And when I take my pictures, that's where I post them.
Blew right by your hobbies, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the Dallas Show. Maybe I'll have you back to talk about what you like to do.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Whoa, what an episode, am I right? This is a thanks for everybody who helped make the Dallas Show and the Dallas Show podcast possible. To all of our backers, thank you very much. Specifically, Kimmer Callahan, thank you so much for everything that you've done to help with Static Copy Island. Thank you for helping produce the Dallas Show. And thank you to, what does this say here? Oh, Dallas, you're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Goodbye.